There were saying now that on the day that she said that outside Catholic Church, the barrier had been moved in between the river to enable the press to be closer to hear the comment. The person who asked her for an opinion on it had to be a plan to enable her to give the response. What's going on? I'm not going to get involved. If you retain a neutral stance, I think there's a consequence as for me. I'm Jim Muir, I'm a member of the Denny and Dunny Peace Independence Group and a fervent believer in independence.
Now, I know that you're quite involved with the All Under One Banner crowdfunding, and I think you've got some good information for our viewers about that situation, because it has been a difficult situation over the last few months.
Yes, as someone who's helped organise some crowdfunding for All Under One Banner, obviously there was some concerns raised by people on social media about what was happening, and I'm happy to have heard that the Scotland for Independence Foundation have involved themselves with All Under One Banner and are happy to take part in helping to fund some of that. So that's good news, because that's an independent organisation that will only help organisations once they've been vetted for proper and response dealings with the public.
Anyway, so this is really very good news from the perspective that there was a lot of bother and it was all in the press, and but what you've said now has been in the press too.
Yes, well, it's important that people are aware of the efforts that organisations like All Under One Banner and indeed Hope Over Fear, two institutions that are helping to gather all the different groups of independence believers into one common goal, which is independence for our country. And these people do a lot of hard work for no recompense other than the achievement of having organised the marches, these events, and people come and enjoy themselves. So it's important that they get a bit of funding to help do these things.
What's the main reason for you wanting independence for Scotland?
Because I think we have the right to be independent, to manage our own affairs, and stop subsidising England. I don't want to, as Thomas would say, we don't want to leave our working class brothers and sisters. We want to meet them. But I just feel every country has the right to self-determination.
And what do you think about all the political wranglings of the last couple of weeks with Mr. Johnson and everything?
God almighty. They're saying our folk looked up. It could be frightening. But I think the working team, excuse me, I'm quite off. The media don't let you know about the fight backs out with our media is a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're the indie poet. Tell us all about that.
Well, I was in 2012. I decided to write a poem or two or three all about independence, and then I was contacted by the Indie Girls, who asked me, did I have any more? And I quite brazenly said yes, I'll get plenty more, but that was only because there was plenty of material. So the Indie Girls are responsible for me writing all this poetry.
So, I mean, how did you come to write poetry?
I started writing poetry 11 years ago. It's not something that I like, but I love writing it, which is a wee bit strange, I suppose. I'm not a reader either. But I don't know. I just
And it's turned into quite a few books here.
poems for an independent Scotland, the blue one with the artwork was done
So
by.
you've actually branched out from just being an independent Scotland poet. You've got other poetry too.
I have, but not a lot. Not a lot.
And you've got these books beautifully bound and everything.
Well, these are all independence poems.
Uh-huh.
Yes, We Believe is the latest one, and the artwork's by Wee Scribbles, and he's also responsible for the artwork on Are You Yes Yet? And the first one, the artwork for that was done by Nicole Summer. I think she's up in Aberdeenshire.
Okay. And so you're getting a bit of notoriety.
I don't know about notoriety. I'm getting noticed, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Okay, so Wings Over Scotland, and we have to thank you so much because at Dunfermline a few weeks ago, my gazebo was blowing all over the place. Marco was trying to hang on to it, and you guys came to our aid.
I remember.
I managed to salvage and repair, but it was a bit of a day, wasn't it? Now, listen, tell us, give us a bit of the lowdown on Wings Over Scotland.
Well, we're actually friends of Wings Over Scotland, and we run the stall. It's not Wings that run the stall, it's people who actually follow Wings.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, I got you.
And we try to attend as many marches, rallies as possible. We've been doing it for several years now.
7 in the last count.
I think that's
The
7
Wings stall
years.
has been going since 2012 and 2013 at Yes in the Park, Strathclyde, the first ever event where the SNP tried to put us out of business by a flying gazebo.
Oh, I see. So you've got a lot of history with the gazebos.
That's why everybody helps each other.
Hence the hairy string. That's the hairy string.
Oh, I see. That keeps you.
That
keeps you
tied it together.
Grounded, aye.
Well, we've got the string.
Unlike your gazebo that couldn't be tied together.
We didn't have a string.
Yeah, I mean, I think the gazebo thing was a whole big mistake.
Aye, as was said, the Friends of Wings stall is a completely separate entity to what he does on the website. What we're here for is promotion of the site and reader engagement, so advertising and just generally causing a bit of bother.
And just trying to support the movement as best we can.
Johnny, is this for you? No, it's for Tommy.
Hi.
Hi.
So now, tell us who you are.
Well, my name's Gwen Sinclair and I'm here today at Hope Over Fear in Glasgow. I'm from Yes East Ayrshire, which is based just 20 miles south of here. And I'm going to be speaking today for Yes East Ayrshire.
Okay. So now, Yes East Ayrshire. Tell us a bit about that. How did that come about?
Well, basically it was a campaign that started around 2012 and obviously for the independence referendum that was happening in 2014. And it was one of the biggest groups, we believe, in Scotland. It was an absolutely massive group of people who got together, and it just basically became a really, really big deal for so many people to try to get independence for Scotland. So we had a really good opportunity to get to as many doors as we could and to get to speak to as many people as we could. And we decided after the 2014 result of the referendum, which of course was pretty devastating, but we decided we're not giving up on this. We're going to keep this going, and obviously for the last 5 years we have, and we have a shop now in Kilmarnock which has been running now for almost 2 years. Basically to make it a normal high street thing about independence, and we sell merchandise and we hold events and things like that, and that is entirely self-funded by volunteers, donations and fundraising.
So in the wee shoppy there, is it quite a big place? I mean, how many folk can you get in there?
And I think wee shoppy kind of covers it well. Well, we get a few visitors, we get people coming in. We also, I think, will get more people in once the referendum starts again, once there is a whistle being blown for that next referendum, which we're expecting to be quite soon. But we have all the information leaflets, we have flags if anyone needs them to take to rallies, and we also are able to advertise all the national events outside the shop, and we get lots of people stopping, so we could have ended up having a lot more people at the marches and rallies simply because they saw it. Say when they're passing on a bus, they will see it.
So just can you give us a rundown of what you think you're going to say? No one's going to hear this before you've done this,
Okay,
done the
yeah.
speech. So,
okay, well, I've actually got a few thoughts running in my mind. I was kind of preparing what I might say over the last week or so, and my biggest thought just now is I'd just like to say thank you to the people of Scotland. I want to say, to show how much I appreciate what everyone's doing. The likes of yourself today coming out and just using your time just for something you believe in. And I think that's what I see. If people got together and they continue to do so, then this could be an amazing nation to live in. And this is, to me, it represents what we could be. This whole dynamic of people. Plus, obviously, during that 5 years, a lot of people have been really, really studying what's been going on behind the scenes and waking up to what's really true about their lives here in Scotland and in terms of the finances. I'm going to be speaking a wee bit about the big sporting that comes along and gathers all our money and it goes to Westminster, and the Chancellor of the Exchequer decides to give us this tiny little sporting bag to live on.
Hope over fear. Rally, the final countdown.
Yeah.
You think it is the final countdown?
We certainly hope so. We certainly hope it is. If not, then we're going to take this to London.
And how your gigs going?
We're doing really well. Everything's picking up. The sun's shining. It's great. We've got a new album coming out. We've got gigs coming up in Inverness and Edinburgh. Everything's going great.
And what's your new album called?
It's not named yet. That's a secret. Yeah.
All right. And is it going to be stuff that you've written or other stuff that covers?
It's all original stuff, co-written between the three of us.
But Maya Brown, I think you're going to be an international superstar before long. You've just performed at the Hope Over Fear rally.
Yes, I did.
Now, the first song, did you write that one?
Yes.
How many songs have you written?
Like 20 now?
The best thing about what you're doing is you've got the energy.
Oh.
In the old days when I used to teach drama to people, I used to say the audience are the most important people. You let them see everything and you give them energy. You win every time on that. It was brilliant.
You just
Absolutely
act
brilliant.
like, you act like a loony who's on like substance, and then you get a result.
And then of course you sang the great song of Caledonia, and you sang it so well. You've got a very good voice.
Thank you.
So how have you trained yourself up? Now, did you say you were 16?
Yes.
I hope I can use this on the video.
Oh, of course. I am 16 years old.
But how have you trained yourself up to this particular position?
It's a big question. I've it's purely self-pathed, you know. Like I've done it. I've worked from the bottom of myself, but thanks to Debbie and Jim Renane and the Renanes and Emoji 13, they've lifted me up and really got to me to this level. You know what I mean?
Hi, I'm Councillor Audrey Doig from Renfrewshire Council, and I'm basically going to ask a question of everybody here today that's they probably have never thought before. I represent an organisation called Nuclear 3 Local Authorities in Scotland, and I've travelled to Europe this year to present the case for all local authorities and all organisations to ask their pension funds not to invest in anything that is nuclear power or nuclear weapons. So we're looking for the pension funds to divest out of banking on the bomb, basically. So I'm going to ask the people at this rally to go back and ask their pension funds and their organisations to morally not put money into our money, our pension money, into something that Scotland finds abhorrent.
Well, I can say I can support that. I think that's wonderful. And especially because we've got the energy we need now in Scotland from renewables, haven't we?
Yes, we don't need nuclear power, and the Scottish Government has said we are not renewing nuclear power, we're not investing any more money in it, but it still costs us millions a year to keep it safe because of all the waste that we can't get rid of. But the other thing is that Norway is a country that we all often compare ourselves to. Norway's money that they've got from the oil that they have.
Sovereign Wealth Fund.
They are not, and as a country they have policies, they will not invest in nuclear power, they will not invest in nuclear weapons, and they will not invest in nuclear fossil fuel in any way. They do the opposite. They bank money into renewable energy and real funds. So when we become an independent Scotland, we'll be sistering exactly what they've done.
So, Chris, you've just been on the stage here at the Hope of a Fear rally, and you've been big noise in the news just recently with your idea. And I think you better explain that better than me, because I know exactly what the idea is, but it'll come much better for you.
I think it's great to see such a great turnout today. It's a beautiful day, and there's lots of people here that are quite clearly passionate about supporting Scottish independence. And I'm clear, we've got a mandate to give people in Scotland a choice on their future, but we've got as a UK government that's refused to simply respect the democratic mandate of the people of Scotland. And what I've been arguing is that it's not sustainable for that UK government to keep on telling us no, now is not the time when we have that mandate. So when we've exhausted every other possible democratic possibility to make sure we get that referendum, I think we do need an independence plan B to make sure that plan A actually happens. So if we elect a pro-independence majority of SNP MPs at the UK election, or a pro-independence majority of the Scottish Parliament, if that election comes first, well, short of a Section 30 order to give us that choice, that should be our straight mandate to enter into independence negotiations with the UK government.
Yeah, and then there was a little bit of controversy about the SNP not selecting that as a motion for the forthcoming conference. I mean, did that bother you at all? Or?
Well, you can keep motions and debates off the conference floor, but you can't stop people talking about them. And we've been going to branch meetings across Scotland. We know that there's community meetings, there's yes meetings going across Scotland, and people are talking. This is a really serious issue we need to address. What happens when we've got a UK government that doesn't play with the rules? They shut down Parliament. We've got two Prime Ministers now actually using the Queen to win a referendum result. So we've got people that aren't rational and don't play by the rules. So if we keep playing Westminster's game, we'll always lose.
Yeah, and Nicola has actually come out and said that the forthcoming general election, we will have independence at the heart of that debate.
Well, the SNP is the party of independence, so we'll absolutely put independence front and centre of that campaign. But if we win yet another election and the UK government simply turn around and say no, we refuse to listen to your fourth democratic mandate, then that's a real issue we need to ask. How do we take things forward from then to make sure people in Scotland get a choice?
There was also the European election result, which was absolutely fantastic for the SNP, wasn't it?
It's absolutely showed that it doesn't actually matter whether you voted to leave the EU or to vote to remain in the EU. It's with the people of Scotland actually getting the choice to determine our future with the European Union, and not have that choice imposed upon us by a parliament that's clearly anti-democratic, that doesn't have the support of the people of the United Kingdom, certainly doesn't have the support of the people of Scotland.
Hi there. So, sir, tell us all about you.
My name's Kenny McLaren. I'm a councillor in Renfrewshire. I cover basically North West, so it covers a whole range of communities from Ferguson to Castlehead. So it's quite a lot of work, but the real reason I'm in politics is for independence for Scotland, nothing else.
And that's been your life's goal?
Yeah, absolutely. We could do so much better if we just did it by ourselves. We make our decisions, we plan for all the people of Scotland, rather than being dragged along with whatever England thinks.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way of thinking, isn't there, that's so totally different.
But I think it's more community minded. There are communities in other parts of England that are maybe community minded, but not all of it. When you look at the voting patterns, when even in North England are voting Tory or Brexit, you know they've been misled. Whatever reason they're voting an entirely alien position from the people in Scotland. We've got a different political viewpoint, and we want to stand up as our own country.
Right, I'm Councillor Mags McLaren from Renfrewshire Council. I would really just say to everybody, we're on the verge of independence. We need to get out there and take our independence, and that means if every single person who voted for independence last time just got one other person to vote yes this time, we would be home and free, we would be winning by miles.
And you've been an independent supporter for forever?
Basically, yes. Even as a child living in England, I remember desperately wanting to come back to Scotland so that I could be part of the independence movement. So yes, as long as I can remember.
What do you make of all the things that have been going on in the past week or two? And we've got the proroguing of Parliament, we've got Boris Johnson doing things that, like saying that the EU are negotiating with his people, but they're not really. I mean, all these lies and stuff, the Queen being involved in such a thing as well, and indeed that piece that came out in David Cameron's memoir that he asked her to raise an eyebrow. Give us a few thoughts about the current political I don't know, Loch Ness Monster, whatever it is?
Well, I've been kind of right in the middle of this because as well as being a councillor, I'm the office manager for Mary Black MP. So obviously I've been right at the heart of everything that's been going on. But all I can really say is it just highlights why we need to be independent. It's a mess. I mean, people talk about the constitution of the UK. We don't have one. There is no written constitution. So there aren't really any rules. It's a bit like Pirates of the Caribbean. They're just guidelines.
Yeah, I mean, we really should have a written constitution, shouldn't we? So we can actually know what our responsibilities are to our country and what our freedoms are through that written document, so we know where everybody stands.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And as an independent Scotland, we could do that. I don't see the UK getting any closer to doing that anytime in the near future.
I think we could just hang around here all day.
Thank you so much.
It'd be great.
What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Brilliant, brothers and sisters, I was saying there, I want you to thank Helen, who's here to sign for us. Unfortunately, her friend and co-partner, Sharon, who has been a big feature at former events, can't make it today, which means that at the end of today's events, although everybody's going to be tired, those that are stewarding, those that have helped with the stage, those that have helped with all the equipment, we're all going to be tired, but nobody's going to be more tired than this lady here. She's done a tremendous job in the past and she'll continue to do a tremendous job. Manifesto. A vote for SNP is a vote for NDRF2 on the day and the manifesto. In other words, we say in unity here today, use the mandate, name the date, no fear, only hope. Brothers and sisters, we have made this point over and over, and I think we have to reiterate it at every opportunity. Independence for us, brothers and sisters, it isn't just about the past. Yes, the past is important, but independence is much more about the future than about the past. Independence, brothers and sisters, isn't just about tradition. Yes, tradition's important, but independence is much more about ambition than tradition. Independence, brothers and sisters, isn't about control. Independence is about freedom. Independence, and this is a very, very important point, independence isn't about individuals or political parties. Independence is about our nation. That's what independence is about. Independence isn't about hate and all of its ugly guises. Our opponents try to portray us as haters of the English. What a lot of crap. We don't hate the English. We've got many friends that are English. We've got many comrades that are English. We've got many people in England who support our cause. We, in the heart of hearts, know that independence isn't about hate. Independence is about love and cooperation and compassion. When we have our independence, we will change from being in an abusive, exploitative marriage that we never agreed to in the first place, and instead we can become friendly and cooperative neighbours. That's what independence will be about. Perhaps most importantly, brothers and sisters, independence cannot be about fear. Let's stop being frightened by the unionist mainstream media who do everything to denigrate us, who do everything to undermine us, who do everything to create a narrative that we're too small, that we're too poor, that we're not smart enough, that we can't afford our independence. Brothers and sisters, instead of worrying about what could go wrong in an independent Scotland, let's start thinking about all the things that can go right in an independent Scotland. Independence, therefore, is not about fear. Independence is about hope. Hope over fear. If there's one thing you learnt from 2014, if you didn't know already, it's that you don't believe the bullshit that you get fed from the British biased corporation. They are there with one purpose only: to defend and promote the status quo, the unequal and very, very exploitative union. And now it's coming out. Remember in 2014 when we said it, didn't we? We said there is a great big oil discovery off the west coast of Scotland, near Shetland, with years and years reserves of oil, and we were told that we were conspiracy theorists. Now they've admitted there is a big oil find off the west coast of Scotland. We said that they were trying to get the royal family involved in arguing against independence, and they said, oh, yeah, they're just conspiracy theorists. Now we're shown that we were right all along. And of course, they told us that if you vote yes for independence, then they're going to close the banks, they're going to increase the prices in Tesco and Asda, there's going to be a new world recession, because poor wee Scotland votes yes. And they said the only way to stay in the European Union is to vote no. Brothers and sisters, we said then there were lies and people scoffed at us, people denigrated us. They're not laughing now. The truth is, as we all know in our hearts, these lies were effective, particularly the lies about the pensions. Pensions won't be safe. Pensions will be lowered. They were effective lies. They were disgraceful lies. But they were effective lies. But they're one-trick ponies. They won't work again. We know, brothers and sisters, we started off last time at between 23 and 25%, and we rose to 45%. Now, when we're starting at 23 or 25, we're starting at 50 and 52. When the Tories say that people are still opposed to independence, we say, all right then, put it to the test. Put it to the test. Brothers and sisters, we're not going to win 51 or 52% in the next referendum. We're going to win 60 and 65%. Brothers and sisters, they got less than 100,000 votes from the Tory party. There are more people vote on Britain's Got Bloody Talent than voted for him to become the Prime Minister. So Mr. Johnson, let's hear it loud and clear. You have no morals, no integrity, and no democratic mandate. We in Hope Over Fear, in common with every everyone in Scotland and quite a few people in England and Wales as well, we demand an early general election so we get rid of Boris Johnson. The Tories in Scotland are looking like they're heading for a total and utter wipeout. We would respectfully appeal to the SNP. It may not be possible now, although we would have liked it. We would have liked for the October 31st critical date. That's when we're supposed to leave the European Union, despite 62% of Scotland saying no. They're going to get dragged out of the European Union. We would have preferred that the mandate that we've had for 3 bloody years was used on October 31st. If it's not going to be used then, and a general election's going to intercede affairs, we say this in a constructive, positive manner. We say to our friends in the SNP, when you fight the general election in November or maybe December, please fight that election on 2 options. Number 1, fight it on the basis of a vote for the SNP is a vote for independence. And that would enable Scotland to do what most other countries in the world have done. They declared their independence on the back of an election. However, if that's not going to be an option, there may be some people within the higher echelons of the SNP who think they would rather go down a referendum route. Our appeal to you then is this. Please do not ask permission for something that is our inalienable right. We as a nation possess the right to self-determination.
My name's Councillor Andy Doig. I'm an independent councillor on Renfrewshire Council. And I'm an independent for independence in the same mould as Dennis Canavan and the late Marco MacDonald. There's a lot of voices in the leadership of the SNP at the moment are talking about the need to be calm and serious. But I think to me, there's too many of these voices are more comatose and cringing than calm and serious. And I think the time perhaps for calm and serious is gone. Of course we want to be law-abiding, of course we want to do things purely with the ballot box, but I think given the political turmoil that we're in, it's time for the independence movement as a whole to look at taking the power into our own hands. I don't think we need to beg for a Section 30. I think we should field candidates at national elections on an independence mandate ticket to negotiate.
Because it's a very difficult situation, isn't it? Because let's face it, the people south to our border are very powerful. We've got lots of big guns, for want of a better word. And pushing that across, but there's a lot of people within Scotland who would prefer to stay as we are.
There is indeed, but I think the whole issue of Brexit has really delivered a new fault line in politics, and I have to say that I stand with people on the progressive left who are anti-EU. There is absolutely nothing intrinsically progressive about the EU that backs austerity, that is undemocratic, that did not say a single word about the Spanish government's treatment of the Catalonian independence movement. And I think I'd like to see Scotland have a Swiss-style position within EFTA and a much more detached position in relation contribution to the EU.
Because we certainly need the trade though, don't we?
Of course we need the trade.
I'm a granddad and that's why I'm here today. I've got a wee 4-year-old called Melody, the most precious thing in my life, and I worry about her future, and I'm fighting for Scottish independence to give her a good future.
That's a wonderful response to my question. But actually, just for my record, tell us who you are.
My name's Patrick Rowlink. I'm a comedian and I make people laugh for a living.
Got an independence joke?
No, it's not a joke, to be honest. I think the biggest joke in the country is now is Boris.
Yeah.
Frightening, we should stop calling him Boris.
What do you think about him?
I think he's a liar. I think he's an instinctive liar. I think he will do anything for power, and he'll sacrifice the poor and the needy in this country on the altar of his ego. I think it's truly dreadful.
And as for your own career as being a comedian, you go about the country a lot?
I'm just back from Las Vegas. I go to Canada every year, have done for 14 years, and the love that people in Canada have for Scotland. But there's also a great confusion as why we missed the chance in 2014. So the whole of Canada's behind us as well. And I think I can speak for Canada today. Let's get it done, Scotland. Independence. The only way to give our children and grandchildren a future.
I'm Jean McClellan. I'm an SNP councillor for Saltcoats in North Ayrshire.
And tell me, why have you come here specifically today for the Hope Over Fear rally?
Well, one reason that I actually jumped at the chance to do this, I want to expel a myth. This myth being that if you're an SNP, you don't really want independence. That is not the case. That's why I'm here. I don't care what party you belong to or what group you belong to, as long as you're going to vote yes at the next referendum, you're my friend.
My name's Ian Campbell.
And who are you?
I'm a SNP councillor for Craigentinny-Duddingston over in Edinburgh.
Okay. And you come to the Hope Over Fear rally?
I have to say this is my first rally here.
And what was your main focus in coming here today?
Well, I wanted to experience this and to be part of it. And one of the reasons I've not been so involved is I've not been so well in the last few years. So I'm just at the point now where I can come along.
And what do you think of the general malaise of everything that's been going on in this last week or two with our friends and cousins from south of our border?
I think it's disgraceful. The reason I'm involved in politics is because democracy stopped working for Scotland, and now it's stopped working for the whole of the UK, and it's just things are just getting worse and worse.
And I mean, do you think they have any concept of how people in other countries see the United Kingdom now?
I think we're a big joke. I worked for over 25 years planting, establishing charities in Eastern and Central Europe, and I've lots of contacts in these countries, and they just can't believe what's happening, and they've got to the stage, most of them have stopped even looking at the news about it. But one of the things I did in Central Europe was I monitored the rise of neo-Nazism and the nationalist right wing, and I see parallels happening with this closing down of Parliament, of stopping people giving the view of not listening to others but just doing their own thing. I've seen that happen in some of these countries that have gone very right wing and have really moved into
it is
almost
a global
fascist.
problem this now, isn't it?
It's absolutely, and it's on the rise, and we're just people are not aware of it in this country, but it's crept in through this whole Brexit thing, all the issues of racism, of immigration, of nationalism, and it's not. I'm in the Scottish National Party, not Nationalism Party, and it's nationalism's a right-wing fascist movement that's come across the whole of the UK.
Craig Murray, the man who does all the blogging and writes stuff and was the ambassador. Please tell us all about how you feel the world is today and Scottish independence.
I'm worrying at the moment. I'm astonished that we're at a stage where the Union is collapsing. The United Kingdom is falling apart. We've had the Quarter Session declaring that the Westminster Parliament is behaving illegally. The Prime Minister is behaving illegally in proroguing the Westminster Parliament. We're at a stage where the former Prime Minister has admitted he got the monarchy to interfere in the last independence referendum. Plainly the union settlement is over. It's not working. And now is the time to strike for independence. We don't need to put up with any more austerity. We don't need to wait for something else to happen. Now is the time to strike for independence. And I'm seriously concerned that there's a danger of losing the moment. I don't quite understand why we're focusing so much energy on fighting Brexit. Whether England and Wales leaves the European Union is not my business. I don't live in England or Wales. England and Wales voted to leave the European Union. That's their business and that's their democratic choice. I don't want to see the Scottish government concentrating on preventing England and Wales from leaving the EU. I want to see them keeping Scotland in the EU by making Scotland independent and able to make its own decisions. And we really are at a stage where we need to get on. We need either to have another referendum, or we need to say that in these circumstances where the Parliament of the UK is no longer functional, and it's no longer functional through illegal action, we have to go for UDI. And now is the moment to act. We cannot wait longer.
And so, what would you suggest? We use this next election, which is bound to come up before the Christmas comes, and centre that and say, look, if we win this, if the SNP win this, get the majority of seats in the House of Parliament in Westminster, that is our ticket to independence?
That's exactly right. What we have to announce is if there's a majority of independent supporting MPs elected at the next Westminster election, that will lead to a declaration of independence. And people, when they vote, can know that. Therefore, it's a fair democratic chance and a fair democratic mandate.
Yeah, after all, we've got quite a few mandates in the back pocket already. And people don't even seem to mention the EU election, which happened a few weeks ago when the SNP swept the board across the whole of Europe.
That's very true. And we're going to see a Tory wipeout at the next elections here. And we've had enough of being governed by a party that doesn't represent us. And the Tory wipeout should be the end of the UK.
I think I should just take advantage of one more of your, obviously you've got many talents and many skills, but you were an ambassador for the UK abroad. How do you think the reputation of what we still call the UK is abroad now?
Well, I think the UK is at rock bottom in terms of reputation abroad. The entire fiasco of Brexit, the failure of the UK's institutions to work, the UK's bad faith it's shown in both in negotiating deals and then not passing them, but also in blatantly lying and saying things to the people you're negotiating with, then saying something completely different at home, as though the people abroad can't read the newspapers.
You can't imagine that Monsieur Barnier or Monsieur Juncker and all the rest of them actually can find it credible at all that they're negotiating anything.
The UK is held in contempt, and it's not only over Brexit. You've got the example of repudiation of the International Court of Justice decision on Diego Garcia.
Yes.
You can't just decide you're not following the International Court of Justice and expect still to be regarded as a respectable member of the International.
Hey, Ken, tell me all about what you wanted to say.
Yes, from the last time that we met in Dunfermline, I forgot to mention I'd actually got a long history with Malta. My parents took me there as a child, and I've been going many times a year ever since. I was lucky enough to live there for 7 years, and it was over the time of their referendum about joining the EU. So it was most interesting to be there to see all the arguments, what was going forward. They got their independence from the UK in 1964. They had their EU referendum 2003. They joined the EU 2004, and they adopted the euro in 2008. And over that time, I was able to see how European money could really change a small country. The three islands in Malta, Gozo and Comino are all tremendous improvements from their infrastructure because of EU grants and EU involvement. And it was fantastic to see, because in Malta and Gozo, sort of the holiday makers were becoming less, tourism was becoming less, and that's really their only main form of income at that time. And with the advent of cheaper holidays everywhere else, they ended up, there was a financial problem in Malta. I seen that when I was there. So joining the EU and getting the EU funds in was vitally important. And I've been driving in roads for years that were terrible state. EU grants, fabulous roads. They transformed the whole of the three islands. It was wonderful to see. But the main point I was wanting to mention was I've got many Maltese friends, and they are still angry and upset about the asset stripping that the English did when they left in 1964. They plundered the country, and we have heard that before in other situations in other countries. And to this day, my friends are bitter and still hurting over that. They took away a lot of the country's most prized possessions. They never got them back, of course. So when I introduced myself as Scottish all these years ago, and the friends I've got to this day, they were wonderful, because as long as I wasn't English, they were happy with that. And they were able to inform me of the history more than I could find out myself, because they lived through all those times from in 1964, so I wasn't even born then.
Sandra White, MSP, Glasgow, Kelvin.
And we haven't seen each other since May the 4th.
That's correct, yes, that's
What's
right.
been happening since May the 4th?
Well, lots of things have been happening since May the 4th. You can talk about Boris, you can talk about Cameron, you can talk about the Scottish Parliament, the non-Westminster Parliament.
What's been the thing that really got your goat the most?
The most is the lack of democracy from the Westminster Parliament. They have a cheat to refuse us a Section 30 for a referendum on independence, and yet they closed down the so-called Mother of Parliaments. Where is the democracy in that? We've got to challenge them on that. So yeah, I think that energises myself and others. In fact,
do you think this business now, we had the court case in Scotland, and of course they've appealed it to the Supreme Court. It's not a name I've really warmed to, the Supreme Court. It sounds American to me.
Yeah.
But do you think this is just a time-wasting idea, and Boris and there's that man in the Dominic Cummings have actually put that into their equation?
I think Boris knows what he's doing, and the team behind him have known all along. What they're doing is trying to blame the EU, so they're time wasting, and obviously the broadcasting companies, the media, seem to be spouting the nonsense of Boris Johnson. So in my mind, they will wait and wait and wait until it's too late. They will come out on October the 31st with no deal, and he'll go to the country then and say, the European community, also perhaps the Scottish people and the Remainers have done this to us, and he will go for an election and he will win an election down south with a majority.
And again, we won't have anything to do with it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the reason we got a Scottish Parliament, because there was absolutely no Tory representation in Scotland at all, and yet we were supposed to put up with it.
And of course, the thing that's very noticeable at the current time is the amount of propaganda that you get from the BBC and other organisations too. And it seems to be marked and very stark.
Absolutely, I think you can see it, anyone can see it altogether. The situation with the gentleman in the hospital, and that was an absolute disgrace. When you have people who are experienced journalists and others, and the BBC, it was reported in the BBC News that this man was a Labour activist. Now, it doesn't matter what you are, his child was in the hospital seriously ill. So we've all got to declare now who we are. Dangerous times we're in, when the media is actually running the country.
I mean, you're in the Parliament here in Holyrood, and what strikes me often about First Minister's questions is that Carlo and Leonard, not always Willie Rennie, but they always attack on education or the health service. And yes, I was over at Kinghorn the other day. You come through Buntusland, beautiful new school sitting on top of the hill. I was down to Stranraer the other day, Garvin, beautiful new school. They're building a new school in Cumnock and all the rest of it. And yet, you know, one person, I mean, okay, it's terrible if one person gets sick, but after all, people go to hospital because they are ill.
Well, that's it. And it's just constantly talking down our education system. It's one of the best in the world. Our universities are in the top 50. Our health service is better than other health services throughout Europe, throughout the world as well. But I think the people, the public, are generally seeing through this. They're fed up with it. I mean, we had Donald Dewar at the time telling us that we would be worse off than Bangladesh. We had others telling us that we wouldn't be able to post letters to our people in England, relatives. People have heard it all before. It's old news. Folk are not falling for it anymore, and that's a good thing. But we desperately need to do something to make sure we have an independence referendum, and that's where Holyrood comes in. Circumvent the Section 30, which we're looking at the moment, other legislation. We have to do it.
So would you go for calling the next general election and using that as the referendum?
I would be saying that if you vote for SNP MPs, that is a vote for a referendum for independence. I would. And all I can say is watch this space of what comes out of the manifesto.
Okay, listen, that's a very special request.
I'd just like to start off by saying, or asking rather, what is today about? At its core.
Today at its core is about telling the whole of Scotland, the whole of the world, that we're not going back in the box. We had a referendum in 2014. We rose from about 23 to 25% support. In the course of a year-long campaign, we rose to 45%. It was a fantastic achievement against the biased media and the corporate media, but we narrowly lost. However, we were lied to, we were bullied, we were cheated, all of the stories were distorted, pensioners were told they weren't going to get their pensions, we were told that the banks were going to close and leave, we were told that Asda and Tesco were going to pop their prices. There was a lot of rubbish that the British establishment moved might and main to try and stop us getting our independence. And we've now heard, we already knew it was the case, but we've now heard from the horse's mouth that even the monarchy was brought in to play because David Cameron was so desperate, they thought they were going to lose, and they had to bring in the monarchy at the last minute to try and sway the vote. And the truth is, under 55, all of the age groups under 55 voted yes. The age groups over 55 voted no. So it was a youth vote, and it was a working class vote. Glasgow, Dundee, North Lanarkshire, Western Berkshire, they all voted yes. We knew then that we were going to win the future. Because when you've got the young people on your side, you're inevitably going to have the future. So what we're saying today is, 5 years on, we're closer to independence than we were 5 years ago, because we've got the youth on our side, and because their lies and their distortions have now been exposed for what they are.
I myself, I'm 20, so I wasn't old enough to vote. Going back to pensioners and the elderly vote, I've asked quite a few people around 55 plus today, and they seem to have the sentiment that people my age, people of my generation, have almost been let down by people of their generation.
I think a lot of pensioners have realised that independence isn't about the past, it's about the future. So it's not really about them, it's about their children and their grandchildren.
Going back to people like Alison Cameron, Gordon Brown, things like Project Here. A lot of people like to talk about the idea that during the referendum there was very much almost cult of personality about certain things, like Alexander, like Alison Darling, and like Gordon Brown. What do you say to people who say there was almost a cult of personality that emerged with people like yourself?
I think, Jacob, we've always got to explain. I was the pleasure of speaking 121 different meetings all across Scotland throughout the referendum campaign 13 to 14. I spoke in every corner of Scotland. I spoke to thousands and thousands of people. And some people, not all, but some people used to get, I'm not voting independence because I don't like Alex Salmond. I'm not voting independence, I don't like the SNP. And I had to explain, independence is not about individuals. Independence is not about political parties. Independence is about a nation. It's about saying we are a nation, that we have the right to make our own mistakes, but we also have the right to do things our own way. We have the right to get the government that we actually vote for. That's normality. I used to use a wee analogy about buying a new house, Jacob, and I used to say, you know, you get a new house, it's got 3 bedrooms, it's got a lovely garden, it's near the best school in the area, and you say to yourself, oh, I really want to buy this house, and then you see the wallpaper, and you think, oh, I don't like the wallpaper. You don't not buy the house because you don't like the bloody wallpaper. You buy the house and you change the wallpaper. And similarly, after independence, if you don't like the particular government they've got, vote to change it. That's what you can do in an independence. You can't do that when we're part of the Union. Because it doesn't matter how Scotland votes, we'll get whoever England decides should be in power.
Earlier today I was on Glasgow Street and there was a youth stand set up. I have to say it was significantly smaller than this, but it was led by a man, Alistair. He's a former UKIP candidate, and I asked him, I put this question to him, if there was a yes vote, what scares him the worst about that? And he replied something along the lines of, we would have civil unrest, the likes of which hadn't been seen since the 18th century. The Englishness would be hated. What's your response to that?
Absolute rubbish. The boy's speaking, I mean, obviously that boy has a very, very jealous anus, because his anus will be jealous of the crap that's coming out his mouth. The truth is, independence has got nothing in common with hate. Independence isn't about hate in any of its guises. Independence is about love. Independence is about compassion. Independence is about human solidarity. Independent Scotland won't be building new walls. We'll be knocking down existing walls and welcome immigrants and those that are seeking refuge to come and live and work in our country. That's what's in our hearts. Compassion, human solidarity, not hate. The guy is maybe wishful thinking, maybe he would like it to be violent, but it's not going to be violent at all. It's going to be very, very peaceful.
Last question, it's a bit of a two-part. Firstly, from the young people that I've spoken to today here, a number of them have been yes, but there's been a few who have said they've been vote no. But one common trend is, especially people around 17 to 20, is they very much share the opinion of their parents that they would vote away. What would you say to that?
Well, I would ask young people we're asking them to vote for independence, so I would hope they would vote independently. I would hope they would make up their own minds and don't just vote blindly. Whether the parents are yes voters or no voters, don't vote blindly. Don't vote yes just because your parents vote yes. Vote yes because you believe in it. Vote yes because you believe Scotland, with all of our natural wealth, with our land, with our water, with our oil, with our gas, with our fishing industry, with our food and beverages industry, with our people, with our universities, we've got so much abundant wealth. It would be one of the top 10 independent nations in the planet as far as GNP and wealth is concerned. So I would ask young people to look at those facts and vote with that in their hearts, rather than vote yes or no because of what their parents do. I would make the point, however, that the last time around, every single age group under 55 voted yes. That's got to be remembered. So a lot of those parents that you're talking about, they would have voted yes anyway. Young people, the biggest proportion, the largest majority, I think it was 71%, was the under 25s. So our biggest support for independence was precisely the younger people.
Can I answer the second part a little bit? Just to ask you, this being a student paper, is there anything you'd like to say in particular, reiterate to young people my age, around 20?
Jacob, I think for young students, I mean, you know, two words to vote independence: student fees. You know, education is still free in Scotland. Education in England is being charged for, so that only those and such as those who can get an education. We have a belief in Scotland. Our health service is free at the point of need. Our education is free at the point of need. We believe that housing should be available for all. That is the type of compassion that underpins Scotland. We have got a special type of nationalism here in Scotland. I think it's been described as civic nationalism, and what that means is that we're not any better than anybody else. We are not chauvinistic about being Scottish. We are actually very open as a society, and we offer a hand of friendship to anyone who wishes to come and live and work in our society, instead of the fist of fury that you get in the narrow, bigoted, chauvinistic English nationalism that has developed, which is quite ugly, if the truth is told. So I would say to young students, think about what we are doing now in Scotland with a devolved government, and then think about how much more we could do if we actually controlled the economic levers. Listen, thank you very much for attending today. I hope that you've listened to speeches. Hope you've been entertained by the music. It was absolutely first class. People who came here gave up their time, gave up their talent to come and entertain us free of charge. What a display of beautiful, wonderful talent. Alistair MacDonald, legend. Ted Christopher, legend. Graham Brownman, brilliant. Oh, too many to mention. But what we've done here today is we have made a stand and we've said 5 years on, we ain't going away, we ain't going back in our box, we'll never give up, we'll never give in, we're going to win our freedom.
Now we're saying now that on the day that she said that outside Catholic Church, the barrier had been moved in time and ever.